Oh, come on. Don't stop. Stop that. That's f***ed up, dude. Cut the music. That's f***ed up. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You are unbelievable.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
7 seconds in, and you are here to take the air out of the tires of New York Mets fans.
No, well, some of them deserve it. Some of them deserve it because last night at like 2:00 in the morning, I'm still going back and forth with these Mets fans who are having. And again, I'm not saying that you can't be upset.
Do you hate Mets fans or do you hate Puerto Ricans? That's really where we need to figure this out, Jared. Who are you really?
I don't think fans of Puerto Rico were saying anything negative. It was all Mets fans.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to get that out, get that cleared up.
Mets fans were having the worst takes, I think, of the if you can still call it the offseason, the worst takes of the offseason belong to Mets fans. On one hand, yes, because we get a lot of Mets fans that listen. And I'm sure that even more Mets fans might listen to this show in particular if they're not listening every week. But these Mets fans, yes, you have a right to be upset. No one's trying to take your right to be upset away from you.
So then
that's a big blow.
So then what are they bitching about?
We still at this. It's March 16th. It's Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern.
So then what's the wrong take? What's the worst take about it?
At the time of this recording, we do not know the extent of Edwin Diaz's injury, but it looks pretty bad. He had to be helped off the field. He got carried off in a wheelchair. Couldn't even be carried. He was helped off in a wheelchair. We don't know the extent. I heard patella. I was told the patella last night. That's neither confirmed nor denied. I don't know, but it didn't look good. Certainly doesn't seem good. But the Mets fans that want to attack the World Baseball Classic because of this, stop. Like, if you're a Mets fan, obviously you've had a long history of bad things happening to you where you can look up at the sky and think that the baseball gods have it out for you, because some of the bad stuff that happens to the Mets and their fans would just seem like we've been targeted. We've been targeted by the higher powers. And I can't put myself in that position. I'm sure if I was in that position, I wouldn't feel great about it. I would think that someone was out to get me as well. But where I draw the line are the Mets fans. Some of them being, I don't know, people that we know. Maybe it's Kevin Clancy. Some of these people saying, fuck the World Baseball Classic. It's a meaningless tournament. Get it off my TV. Blow it up. I never want to see it again. Fail to realize that Edwin Diaz, back to Joey's point a couple of episodes ago, when it's like, name one guy that's gotten hurt in the World Baseball Classic. It's like, well, you finally got it. He got hurt not even in the game. He got hurt jumping up and down afterwards. And it's like, oh, well, why was he jumping up and down? If it weren't for the World Baseball Classic, if he was just pitching in a regular spring training game for the Mets, then he's not jumping up and down in a spring training game. And then we disproved that as well. There are actual videos of the Mets practicing, celebrating like Puerto Rico did last night in spring training. It's like, oh, that was a different manager. Buck Showalter never would have done that. All right, fine. You don't think that a pitcher is doing some cardio in the gym? He could have sustained the exact same injury doing fucking jumping jacks, doing jump rope, any one of those exercises.
Box jumps.
That wasn't like it's just, it is ridiculous to blame the World Baseball Classic. And I'm still saying, I get it. Like, when something like that happens, a freak accident, a fluke injury, you look to the sky for any reason at all to blame, because it's just, you're left with the pieces. You're like, why did this happen to us? We just gave him a 5-year deal for $102 million. We have all this excitement and hype around the New York Mets that's been building for years, not just this year, but even more so this year. And this is how you start your season. So I get it. Steve Cohen was supposed to be the savior. He comes in, he changes the culture from the Wilpons, and you're spending money and you're winning all these baseball games. You're adding superstars. It's supposed to be exciting, but you still can't escape that it's the same old Mets where bad things happen to us and no one knows why.
Yeah.
Don't blame the World Baseball Classic.
No.
Mike Trout and Mookie Betts sat up there last night after the game and said, do not blame the World Baseball Classic. That was a freak accident. Could have happened to anybody. And because I want to spend a lot of the show talking about all the cool shit that's been happening in the World Baseball Classic. I don't need Mets fans out here spreading a false narrative that they're just exhibition games that no one gives a fuck about, because that's just not true.
Well, time out. That isn't true, because
the USA doesn't care. So
then your statement is not true, and that's not true. No, it is true. That's the grappling match.
Like the World Baseball Classic is exciting, and there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. That's true.
That is true. The idea that it means something to everyone is not true. And
you can't tell me that it doesn't mean something to the players,
buddy. You're not.
We're going to get into that.
To?
Fucking Adam Wainwright himself tweeted me. He tweeted me a couple days ago to tell me about how much all those guys care.
Yeah, no, you're not telling. Come on, who are you talking to? You don't have to convince me. I'm the one who has been trying to tell people since we've been doing a podcast together that the vibe you get internationally in the game of baseball is a vibe like you will never, ever get ever anywhere ever. That rang true the minute I said it. It rang true the minute I experienced it myself firsthand, and it will always remain true. Always. You can watch videos upon videos on the internet, interviews with players talking about what it means. There's a video going around, trying to compare the WBC atmosphere and the World Series atmosphere. And for a lot of the folks internationally, they're saying, do you understand the pride that comes along with wearing my country's name across my chest and performing internationally for my country? Like, there's guys talking about that's the real World Series because it's my country versus that country. And it's our country's best playing against each other, not one city versus another city in America. So, like, the whole vibe internationally has always superseded what we feel about our country and sport here in America. Just a fact. And this stage, the WBC, puts that on full display because of what we're talking about. An international superstar in Edwin Diaz is now hurt, and his team in America is going to suffer. The city, the New York Metropolitans. And I promise you, you go back and look through those videos, you saw his brother weeping, crying about what was, what the future looks like. Folks on that team feeling the same emotional, distraught. Like, that's a huge, huge deal. Huge deal. And then we look at Shohei Ohtani, who we've all just dubbed a $500 million man. And he's every day putting that $500 million potential on the line, really twofold, because he's going up there with a bat in his hand and he's taking the mound. So you're watching other international superstars sort of, bypass or look beyond the potential risk that you inherit every time you put a pair of spikes on and saying, I want to go perform for my country. I want to play with my countrymen. And I want to play on this stage because it does mean something to me and it means something to our culture. We just don't have that here. That's a fact.
The tweet that I was referring to from Adam Wainwright, this was 2 days ago. I tweeted, I wish more of USA's best pitchers decided to play in the World Baseball Classic. I get they want to save their bullets for the teams that are paying them. But selfishly, I wish more said fuck it and did it anyway. Shohei Ohtani is about to get a $500 million contract, and he's out there. Adam Wainwright responded, I hear you, Jared Carabas. I can tell you this. A few of our best pitchers wanted to be here, and teams or insurance wouldn't allow it. The men you see competing for our great country want to be here with all their hearts. We're having the time of our lives. Having USA on my jersey is one of the highlights of my entire life, and I know my teammates feel the same way. The pride and honor we feel to rep our country is immeasurable. We'll try to make you and our whole country proud. Being here is something every player should experience. So I think last night, USA versus Colombia, they won it 3-2. That might have been the first time that I saw a Team USA crowd make it so that it didn't feel like a spring training game. Like, obviously, like Joey had the tweet. What was it again, Joe? The Korea Japan numbers?
63 million.
So, yeah.
54 million, the 1980
Japan
World
versus
Series.
Korea reached 63 million viewers last week. The most watched World Series game ever was 54 million in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously these other countries are taking it serious. And if you're sitting there saying that it's just an exhibition game and Edwin Diaz got hurt for nothing and the tournament doesn't mean anything, why was he jumping up and down in the first place? What was he so excited about if it doesn't mean anything, if it's just an exhibition game? No one can answer that question.
Well, we're talking about two different perspectives, right? We're talking about the perspective of the player, which we have established absolutely means something to lots of these guys, including Edwin Diaz specifically. And then there's the Mets fans who are the ones who have a problem with it. And I think this is a good example of, like, sometimes your problem or things that happen to you are not everybody's problem. And sometimes things that happen are not comments on the institution as a whole. Like, this is an isolated, one-off, unfortunate scenario. And I get that Mets fans are disappointed, but this is not a commentary on the viability of the WBC moving forward, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't really, like, they can bitch and moan all they want, but this is...
It's ignorant to even entertain it.
What's entertaining?
I said it's ignorant to even entertain it. That's why I don't have anything to say on the topic, because I'm not going to do that to myself. Well, I'm not going to do that to any of you. We're all intelligent enough to understand that the WBC isn't why Edwin Diaz is hurt. The energy surrounding the competition and the freakishness, that's just a roll of the dice. That's what happened. But the I can't even, it's not, for me, it's not even worth the fucking energy.